Folks, here's something most men never hear out loud. What turns a woman on the most is not what you do in bed. It's how she feels before anything even starts. Let's be honest for a moment. A lot of men walk into intimacy thinking technique is the problem. They think women want things they're too embarrassed to say, or that there's some hidden list they're failing to read. Meanwhile, she's lying there wanting more connection, more presence, more intention, and she doesn't know how to ask for it without feeling judged. My friend, this is where most men get it wrong. Women often want deeper, bolder experiences, but they're terrified of being seen as needy, strange, or too much. So they stay quiet, they hint, they hope you'll understand without them having to explain. And when you don't, desire slowly shuts down, not because you're bad, but because the space doesn't feel safe enough for honesty. I'm not here to teach you bedroom tricks. I'm here to show you the psychological truths behind what women really want but rarely say. Things tied to trust, confidence, control, and masculine presence. When you understand those intimacy changes without forcing anything, in this video we're going to break down the real desires women carry, why they hide them, and how a grounded Stoic man creates the conditions where those desires come out naturally. Stay with me. This isn't about fantasy. It's about awareness. Let's get into it. Number 1. She wants to feel desired. Folks, this is the foundation most men misunderstand. Women don't want to feel tolerated, appreciated, or politely included. She wants to feel desired. Not in a loud, sloppy way. In a grounded, intentional way that tells her, without begging or chasing, I see you and I want you. Let's be honest, a lot of men think desire is about compliments or performance. They think saying the right words or doing the right thing will flip a switch. That's not how it works. Desire is not what you say. It's what your presence communicates before anything is said. Here's a real situation. Michael is 53, divorced, living in Dallas. He's dating Claire, 47. Michael is respectful, attentive, and easy to talk to. But early on, his energy is neutral, safe, but flat. Claire enjoys his company, but something feels missing. Later, Michael shifts. He slows down. He holds eye contact a second longer. He speaks with certainty instead of checking her reaction. He doesn't compliment everything. He chooses moments. Claire feels it immediately. Nothing explicit happened. But she feels wanted, not just welcomed. Now compare that to another scenario. Tom is 50, living in Portland. He constantly reassures the woman he's seeing. He compliments her looks, her intelligence, her choices. On paper, he's doing everything right, but his tone carries uncertainty. He's seeking approval. The desire drains out of the room. She feels appreciated, not desired. There's a difference. My friend, desire is directional. It moves from you to her without asking permission. It doesn't overwhelm. It doesn't plead. It doesn't apologize for existing. When your desire is calm and self-contained, it feels safe. When it's needy or excessive, it feels heavy. Women often don't ask for this directly because they're afraid of being judged. They don't want to seem demanding or too much. So they wait to see if you can create that feeling on your own. That's the test most men don't realize they're taking. Another example. Richard is 58, living in New Jersey. He's spending time with Angela, 49. During a quiet moment, Richard doesn't rush to fill the silence. He stays relaxed. When he speaks, it's with intention. Angela later tells him she felt more turned on by the calm than by anything physical. That's desire felt through presence. This is where Stoicism quietly applies. A man who is comfortable with his own wanting doesn't need to hide it or force it. He acknowledges it internally and lets it show through steadiness. No drama, no rush, no outcome chasing. Men who struggle here often do one of two things. They either suppress desire, completely becoming overly polite, or they overshoot, turning desire into pressure. Both miss the mark. The balance is controlled intensity. Desire also fades when a man centers his behavior around her reactions. When you watch too closely for signs, you stop leading with your own energy. She feels that shift. Desire needs a source, not a mirror. When a woman feels desired properly, she doesn't feel used or evaluated. She feels chosen. And being chosen without pressure is deeply attractive. If this lands for you, write this in the comments. I lead desire. Stay with me. What comes next explains why confidence matters more than technique and how it quietly changes everything she feels. Number 2. Confidence turns her on. Folks, let's clear something up right now. Confidence is not bravado, and it's not performance. Confidence is quiet self-command, and that is what turns her on long before anything physical ever happens. Most men think confidence means saying the right things, making bold moves, or acting dominant on the surface. That's not confidence. That's effort. Real confidence is how you carry yourself when there's nothing to prove. It's how you speak without rushing, how you listen without trying to impress, how you remain steady when the energy in the room shifts. Let's be real. Women are extremely sensitive to emotional tension. They feel when a man is trying to get something from them. They also feel when a man is simply present in his own skin. One creates pressure, the other creates desire. Stoic philosophy has always pointed to this. Marcus Aurelius wrote that a man's worth is measured by the things he does not need. When you do not need validation, reassurance, or control, your presence changes. That change is felt immediately. Confidence turns her on because it removes uncertainty. Not uncertainty about you liking her, but uncertainty about you liking yourself. When a man is at ease with who he is, a woman doesn't feel like she has to regulate his emotions. That freedom is intoxicating. Here's where men get it wrong. They confuse confidence with intensity. They lean in too hard. They talk too much. They try to lock the moment down. That behavior signals fear of loss. Fear is not attractive. Calm is. Epictetus taught that no man is free who is not master of himself. When you cannot master your reactions, your tone or your pace, attraction weakens. When you can, attraction settles in. Confidence also shows up in how you handle silence. Many men rush to fill gaps because silence feels risky. Confident men let silence breathe. Silence creates space. Space allows desire to grow. Another place confidence shows is boundaries. When you can say no without hostility, pause without apology, and move at your own pace, you signal strength. Strength is felt as safety. Safety allows desire to surface without fear. Women are not turned on by men who need to be chosen. They are turned on by men who choose themselves first and then invite her in. That invitation feels different. It's not desperate. It's grounded. Seneca warned that the man who depends on another for peace will never have it. When your emotional state depends on her reactions, you leak insecurity. When your peace comes from within, your presence feels solid. Confidence is also restraint. Knowing when not to push, when not to explain, when not to chase. Restraint communicates trust in yourself. That trust is magnetic. Men often ask how to build confidence. The answer is simple, but not easy. Stop negotiating your worth in every interaction. Stop overcorrecting. Stop performing for outcomes. Do less, but do it with intention. When confidence is real, it doesn't spike and crash. It stays level. That steadiness calms her nervous system. And a calm nervous system is far more open to desire than an overstimulated one. If this resonates with you, write this in the comments. I trust myself. Stay with me. What comes next explains why safety, not excitement, is what actually unlocks her deepest desire. Number 3. Safety unlocks desire. Folks, this is where most men get it completely backward. They think excitement creates safety. In reality, safety unlocks desire. Until a woman feels emotionally and psychologically safe with you, her desire stays guarded no matter how attractive or charming you are. Let's be real for a second. Safety doesn't mean being boring, passive, or overly agreeable. It means she doesn't feel pressure, judgment, or emotional risk around you. Her nervous system can relax, and when it relaxes, desire finally has room to breathe. Here's a real situation. Mark is 55, divorced, living in Phoenix. He's dating Emily, 48. On their first few dates, Mark doesn't push intimacy. He doesn't rush conversations into sexual territory. He listens without interrupting. He shares his opinions calmly even when Emily disagrees. Over time, Emily starts leaning in more, touching his arm when she talks, holding eye contact longer. Mark didn't chase desire. He created safety, and desire followed. Now, contrast that with another example. Jason is 51, living in Atlanta. He's confident, flirtatious, and quick to escalate. He jokes sexually early. He pushes boundaries fast. Emily feels excitement at first, but also tension. Her body stays alert. She laughs, but she doesn't relax. Desire never fully opens because safety was skipped. My friend, women are constantly asking one silent question. Is it safe for me to want this man? Safe does not mean predictable. It means you are emotionally contained. You don't explode. You don't guilt. You don't punish distance. You don't demand reassurance. Another example. Robert is 59, living in Michigan. He's spending time with Susan, 50. Susan opens up about a past relationship that hurt her. Robert doesn't try to fix it. He doesn't minimize it. He stays present and calm. Later, Susan tells him she felt unusually drawn to him that night. That attraction didn't come from words. It came from emotional safety. This is where Stoicism quietly shines. A Stoic man regulates himself first. He doesn't react impulsively. He doesn't need to control outcomes. That self-command creates a sense of protection around him. Protection is deeply attractive because it allows vulnerability without fear. Many men sabotage this by trying to be exciting too early. They mistake stimulation for attraction. Stimulation creates spikes. Safety creates depth. Depth is where desire becomes real. Safety also shows up in how you handle boundaries. When she slows down, you don't push. When she opens up, you don't exploit it. When she's unsure, you don't pressure her for clarity. Each of those moments teaches her whether wanting you is safe or risky. Women rarely ask for safety directly because it sounds unsexy on the surface. But every desire she hides is protected by the same gate. If I want more, will I be judged? If I open up, will he change? If I relax, will he take advantage? Men who understand this stop trying to prove themselves. They focus on being consistent, calm, and self-directed. That consistency tells her she can want you without losing herself. Safety doesn't kill desire. It unlocks it. If this resonates with you, write this in the comments. I create safety. Stay with me. The next part explains why control, when done right, doesn't feel threatening, and why it can actually deepen her desire even more. Number 4. Control without force. Folks, this is where desire deepens without effort. Control without force is one of the most misunderstood dynamics between men and women. Most men hear the word control and think pressure, dominance, or manipulation. That's not what this is. Real control is internal. It's emotional command, pace, and direction that never needs to be announced. Let's be clear. Women are not drawn to men who try to control them. They are drawn to men who clearly control themselves. That difference changes everything. When a man does not rush, does not react impulsively, and does not seek permission for his own presence, the interaction settles into a natural rhythm. That rhythm feels safe and charged at the same time. Stoicism explains this perfectly. Marcus Aurelius wrote that the best revenge is to be unlike the one who wronged you. In attraction, the parallel is simple. The strongest influence comes from not mirroring chaos. When you don't react to tension, flirtation, or uncertainty with force, you lead without pushing. Control without force shows up in pace. You don't rush conversations toward intimacy. You don't escalate just because the moment feels good. You let things unfold. That patience signals confidence. Confidence removes pressure. Pressure is what shuts desire down. Another Stoic truth applies here. Epictetus taught that no man is free who is not master of himself. When you master your impulses, you stop leaking need. Women feel that immediately. A man who does not need to take control externally often has the most influence internally. Many men ruin attraction by trying to steer too aggressively. They guide every interaction. They explain too much. They push conversations forward. That behavior feels like effort. And effort feels like insecurity. Desire responds to calm leadership, not visible strain. Control without force also means allowing silence. Silence is powerful when you are comfortable inside it. When you don't rush to fill gaps, you create space. Space gives her nervous system time to settle. Settled energy allows curiosity and desire to rise naturally. Seneca warned that the man who cannot govern himself will be governed by others. In dating, that looks like reacting to every signal. A delayed reply causes anxiety. A mood shift causes overthinking. Control without force means staying anchored regardless of those changes. This kind of control is deeply masculine because it's invisible. There's no display, no performance, just steadiness. When a woman senses that you are not trying to move her, impress her, or manage her reactions, she relaxes. Relaxation opens desire far more than persuasion ever could. Here's the paradox. The less you try to control the outcome, the more control you actually have over the direction. When you stop forcing moments, moments come to you. That's not luck. That's psychological gravity. Men who understand this stop chasing compliance. They stop proving themselves. They simply show up with intention and restraint. That combination creates a sense of authority that never needs to be stated. If this resonates, comment "I lead calmly." Stay with me. The next part reveals why slowing things down often intensifies desire instead of killing it. And folks, if you want to develop this level of self-command consistently, consider joining the channel membership. Inside, we train emotional discipline, masculine presence, and attraction grounded in Stoic principles without games or confusion. Number 5. Slow intensity matters. Folks, this is where a lot of men accidentally kill desire while thinking they're doing everything right. Slow intensity matters more than fast excitement. Women don't crave speed, they crave depth that builds without pressure. Let's be honest, fast intensity feels good to men because it creates certainty. Things move quickly, emotions spike, attraction feels obvious. But for many women, fast intensity triggers caution. It feels overwhelming. Slow intensity, on the other hand, allows desire to grow while her nervous system stays relaxed. Here's a real situation. Andrew is 54, living in San Diego. He's seeing Melissa, 46. Andrew doesn't rush anything. When they're together, he's fully present, but he doesn't push for constant closeness. Conversations linger. Eye contact holds. Touch is light and intentional. Melissa later tells a friend that time with Andrew feels charged but calm. That's slow intensity. Nothing dramatic happened yet, desire kept building. Now compare that to another example. Kevin is 51, living in Miami. He brings strong energy early, lots of flirting, big compliments. He escalates quickly because he feels chemistry and wants to lock it in. The attraction spikes, then fades just as fast. Melissa enjoyed the attention, but her body never fully settled. Fast intensity burned hot, then burned out. My friend, slow intensity is about pacing desire so it feels safe to deepen. You don't suppress attraction, you contain it. Contained desire feels powerful. Uncontained desire feels needy. Another example, George is 58, divorced, living in Colorado. He's dating Linda, 50. During dates, George doesn't rush transitions. He lets moments breathe. When there's silence, he doesn't fill it. When there's closeness, he doesn't grab for more. Linda notices that she feels increasingly drawn to him over time. Her desire grows because nothing is being forced. Slow intensity also shows up emotionally. You don't dump feelings early. You don't confess everything at once. You reveal yourself gradually, allowing trust to form alongside attraction. That balance is what makes intimacy feel earned instead of rushed. Men often confuse slow intensity with lack of interest. It's the opposite. Slow intensity signals control. Control feels masculine. Masculinity feels safe. Safety allows desire to expand without fear. Women often want more than they're ready to ask for. Slow intensity gives them space to want without being overwhelmed. It invites curiosity instead of triggering defense. Here's the mistake men make. They escalate to relieve their own anxiety. They want to know where they stand. They want reassurance. But using intensity to manage your insecurity puts pressure on her. Pressure shuts desire down. Slow intensity requires patience. It requires confidence that you don't need to rush to be chosen. That confidence is felt immediately. Another detail: when intensity is slow, anticipation builds. Anticipation is erotic. When everything happens quickly, there's nothing left to imagine. Slow intensity lets her mind participate, not just her body. This is why Stoic discipline matters here. You regulate your impulses. You don't act just because you feel something. You choose timing. That choice communicates strength. If you've noticed women becoming more drawn to you when you stop rushing and start pacing yourself, write this in the comments. I move with control. Stay with me. The next part explains why presence beats technique every time, and why trying too hard often ruins what could have grown naturally. Number 6. Presence beats technique. Folks, this is where a lot of men waste years chasing the wrong thing. Presence beats technique every time. Not because technique is useless, but because technique without presence feels hollow. Women don't respond to moves. They respond to the man who is actually there. Let's be straight. Technique is external. Presence is internal. Technique is what you do. Presence is how you inhabit the moment while you're doing it. A man can know every trick in the book and still leave a woman feeling untouched if his mind is elsewhere chasing outcomes or monitoring her reactions. This is why many women say things like, "It felt empty," or "Something was missing," even when everything looked right on paper. What was missing was presence. Stoicism explains this cleanly. Marcus Aurelius wrote that the mind should be focused on the task at hand without distraction. When a man is divided inside, half performing and half evaluating his energy fragments, women feel that fragmentation immediately. Presence shows up as attention without strain. You're not rushing. You're not anticipating the next step. You're not trying to impress. You are simply engaged, calm, grounded, responsive. That state communicates confidence and safety at the same time. Most men rely on technique because it feels controllable. Presence feels risky because it requires letting go of scripts. When you're present, you can't hide behind rehearsed behaviors. You show up as you are. That honesty is what creates intimacy. Epictetus warned that we lose power when we place our peace in things outside our control. Technique tries to control the outcome. Presence accepts the moment. Acceptance removes pressure. Pressure is what shuts desire down. Another Stoic insight matters here. Seneca said that the greatest obstacle to living is expectation. When a man expects a specific result, his body tightens, his attention narrows, presence disappears. When expectations drop, attention widens, presence returns. Women respond to presence because it signals attunement. You're not forcing a rhythm, you're feeling it. You're not trying to lead by pushing, you're leading by listening. That kind of leadership feels natural, not imposed. This is also why overthinking ruins intimacy. The more you think about what you should be doing, the less you feel what's actually happening. Presence requires trust in yourself. Trust is attractive. Men often ask how to build presence. The answer is restraint. You slow your breathing. You relax your jaw and shoulders. You stop narrating the moment in your head. You give full attention to what's in front of you, not to what might happen next. Presence also shows up in how you handle silence. Silence doesn't scare you. It doesn't make you rush. It deepens the moment. Silence with presence feels intimate. Silence without presence feels awkward. Here's the hard truth. Technique can impress. Presence connects. Impression fades. Connection lingers. Stoicism trains presence by pulling you back into the now. You focus on what you control, your attention, your posture, your breath. When you do that, your energy steadies. A steady energy is felt as confidence. When presence is strong, technique becomes secondary. Simple actions feel meaningful. Small gestures feel charged, not because of what they are, but because of how they're delivered. If you've ever noticed that moments feel stronger when you stop trying so hard, that's presence doing the work. If this lands for you, write this in the comments. I stay present. Let's keep going. What comes next explains why attention itself can feel deeply intimate and how most men give it away without realizing its value. Number 7. Attention feels intimate. Folks, this one is subtle, but it's powerful. Attention feels intimate to a woman when it's focused, selective, and grounded. Not scattered, not performative, not desperate. When your attention is calm and intentional, it lands as desire, without you saying a word. Let's be honest for a moment. Most men think attention means availability, constant texts, immediate replies, endless validation. That's not intimacy, that's noise. Real attention feels different. It feels like being seen without being examined. It feels like presence without pressure. Here's a real situation. David is 56, living in Seattle. He's spending time with Laura, 49. When they're together, David doesn't check his phone. He doesn't scan the room. He listens fully, then responds simply. When Laura speaks, he pauses before answering, not because he's calculating, but because he's actually listening. Laura later says she felt more connected in those quiet moments than during any overt flirting. His attention felt intimate because it was rare and undivided. Now contrast that with another example. Brian is 52, living in Chicago. He gives attention constantly, messages all day, compliments every chance he gets. But his attention feels restless. He's always trying to maintain connection. Laura feels watched, not chosen. The intimacy never forms because his attention has no weight. My friend, attention becomes intimate when it has boundaries. When you don't give it away freely to everyone and everything. When you choose where it goes. Choice is what creates value. Another example. Stephen is 59, divorced, living in North Carolina. He's seeing Karen, 51. During conversations, Stephen remembers small details without bringing them up immediately. Later, at the right moment, he references something she shared weeks ago. Karen feels seen, not studied. That delayed, thoughtful attention feels deeply personal. Here's the truth most men miss. Women don't want all of your attention. They want meaningful attention. Attention that isn't chasing approval. Attention that doesn't collapse when it's not returned immediately. Attention also feels intimate when it's emotionally steady. When your focus doesn't spike with excitement and crash with uncertainty. When you don't withdraw attention as punishment or flood it as reassurance. That emotional consistency makes attention feel safe. Stoic discipline shows up here quietly. You decide where your focus goes. You're not pulled by every impulse. You're not reacting to every signal. That self-control gives your attention gravity. Men sabotage this by multitasking emotionally. They listen while planning their next move. They engage while monitoring outcomes. Women feel that split instantly. Split attention feels hollow. Whole attention feels intimate. Another detail. When you're comfortable with silence, your attention deepens. Silence with presence allows her to fill the space naturally. That space often becomes charged, not awkward. Attention also becomes intimate when it's not transactional. You're not giving attention to get something back. You're giving it because you're there, because you choose to be. That lack of agenda is felt immediately. This is why many women feel more drawn to men who speak less but listen more. Not passive listening, grounded listening. Listening without hunger. If this resonates with you, write this in the comments. I choose focus. Stay with me. What comes next explains how calm dominance creates tension without force, and why grounded energy changes how everything feels around you. Number 8. Calm dominance attracts. Folks, calm dominance is one of the most misunderstood forces in attraction. It's not control over her, it's control over yourself. And that distinction is everything. Calm dominance attracts because it removes chaos from the room. When chaos disappears, desire has space to rise. Let's be real. Loud dominance is insecurity in disguise. Over-talking, over-leading, over-asserting. That kind of energy feels forced. Calm dominance is quiet. It's felt, not announced. It shows up in how you decide how you move and how you stay steady when emotions shift. Stoic philosophy has always emphasized this. Marcus Aurelius wrote that the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. A man whose thoughts are disciplined carries himself differently. His posture settles, his voice slows, his reactions soften. That internal order becomes external authority. Calm dominance attracts because it signals certainty without pressure. You're not rushing outcomes. You're not seeking approval. You don't need to convince anyone of your value. That lack of urgency is magnetic. Women feel it as safety mixed with strength. Epictetus taught that we suffer not from events but from our judgments about them. When a man isn't shaken by mixed signals, delays, or emotional fluctuations, he communicates power. Not power over her, but power over himself. That self-command is deeply attractive. Most men try to dominate situations instead of mastering their inner state. They try to steer conversations, escalate moments, or control outcomes. Calm dominance does the opposite. It allows things to unfold while maintaining direction. Direction without force is what creates tension without fear. Another Stoic insight matters here. Seneca said that he who is brave is free. Bravery in this context means emotional bravery. You're not afraid of silence. You're not afraid of pauses. You're not afraid of not knowing exactly where things are headed. That comfort with uncertainty signals strength. Calm dominance also shows up in boundaries. You don't chase what pulls away. You don't punish distance. You don't over-explain your standards. You state them once calmly and live by them. That consistency creates respect. Respect is fertile ground for desire. Women are constantly assessing emotional stability, often unconsciously. They're asking, if I let myself want this man, will he stay grounded? Calm dominance answers that question without words. This kind of dominance is felt in restraint. Knowing when not to act, knowing when not to speak, knowing when to let a moment breathe. Restraint communicates confidence far more than assertion ever could. Stoicism trains this muscle daily. You practice responding instead of reacting. You focus on what's in your control, your breath, your posture, your pace. When those are regulated, your energy steadies. A steady energy changes the entire dynamic. Men often worry that calm dominance will make them seem uninterested. In reality, it does the opposite. It makes interest feel intentional rather than needy. Intentional desire feels safe. Safe desire deepens. Here's the key takeaway. Calm dominance doesn't seek attention. It commands presence. And presence is what women feel long before words or actions register. If this resonates with you, write this in the comments. I stay steady, don't go anywhere. What's coming next explains why being deeply wanted starts with emotional security, not performance, and why most men miss that moment entirely. Number 9. Being wanted deeply. Folks, this is the point many men misunderstand. Being wanted deeply is not about intensity on the surface. It is about emotional permission underneath. A woman does not want you deeply when she feels impressed. She wants you deeply when she feels safe enough to let go of control. Let's be real for a moment. Shallow desire is loud. It spikes quickly and disappears just as fast. Deep desire is quiet. It grows slowly and settles into the body. When a woman wants you deeply, she is not performing attraction. She is surrendering resistance. Here's a real situation. Paul is 57, living in Austin. He's been seeing Rachel, 49. Paul never rushes reassurance. He does not fish for validation. When Rachel pulls back emotionally one week, Paul stays consistent. Same tone, same pace, same grounded presence. Over time, Rachel finds herself thinking about him more when he is not around. That pull does not come from words or effort. It comes from stability. She feels wanted without being consumed. Now compare that to another example. Eric is 52, living in Los Angeles. He wants to be wanted badly. When the woman he's seeing hesitates, he leans in harder. More texts, more explanations, more emotional availability than the moment calls for. She feels overwhelmed. Not because he wants her, but because his wanting needs something from her. That kind of desire feels heavy. Deep desire never does. My friend, being wanted deeply happens when your desire does not require a response. You want her, but you are not attached to her reaction. That detachment creates space. Space allows her desire to grow on its own terms. Another example. Daniel is 60, divorced, living in Virginia. He's spending time with Monica, 53. During a quiet evening, Daniel does not escalate physically, even though the moment feels intimate. He stays present. Monica later tells him that restraint made her feel more drawn to him than if he had pushed. Why? Because she felt chosen, not rushed. Deep desire forms when a woman feels she can want you without being responsible for your emotions. That is the key. The moment she feels responsible for managing your feelings, desire collapses into obligation. Men often confuse intensity with depth. Intensity seeks confirmation. Depth allows mystery. Mystery keeps desire alive because it invites curiosity instead of closing the loop. This is also where Stoicism applies quietly. A Stoic man does not outsource his emotional balance. He wants without clinging. He enjoys without grasping. That internal independence makes his desire feel clean. Clean desire feels safe. Being wanted deeply also means you do not chase moments. You let them arrive. You do not force closeness. You allow it. That patience signals confidence. Confidence gives her nervous system permission to relax. Women rarely articulate this because it is felt, not explained. They just know when something feels different. When desire stops feeling performative and starts feeling embodied. Here's the truth. Being wanted deeply is not about being more sexual. It is about being more grounded. Grounded desire feels stable. Stable desire feels trustworthy. Trust allows surrender. If you have ever noticed a woman becoming more drawn to you when you stop trying to secure her interest, that was deep desire beginning to form. If this resonates, write this in the comments. I allow desire. Stay with me. What comes next explains why so many men miss these signals entirely, and how misunderstanding this moment costs them everything. Number 10. Why men miss this. Folks, this is where everything usually falls apart. Men miss this because they're taught to look for desire in the wrong places. They look for words, behaviors, and guarantees, while real desire shows up in shifts of energy, pacing, and emotional permission. Let's be real. Most men are trained to solve problems directly. If something feels unclear, they push for clarity. If attraction feels uncertain, they escalate. If intimacy slows down, they try to fix it. That mindset works in business. It fails in desire. Here's the hard truth. Desire doesn't respond to pressure. It responds to safety, steadiness, and restraint. And those are things you feel, not things you demand. Men miss this because they confuse logic with intimacy. They want explanations. They want reassurance. They want to know where they stand. But the moment you seek certainty from a woman's desire, you shift the dynamic. You stop being the source of grounded energy and start becoming someone who needs something back. Another reason men miss this is timing. Desire unfolds in layers. Many men act too early. They escalate before safety is established. They verbalize feelings before attraction is embodied. They rush moments that needed space. When that happens, desire doesn't disappear because she wasn't interested. It disappears because it didn't feel safe to deepen. Men also miss this because they overvalue technique. They believe that if they say the right thing or do the right thing, desire will follow. But technique without emotional regulation feels hollow. Women sense when actions come from anxiety instead of intention. That's when attraction quietly shuts down. There's also fear underneath it all. Fear of losing the moment. Fear of being misunderstood. Fear of not being chosen. Those fears push men to act prematurely. Ironically, that behavior creates the very outcome they're trying to avoid. Stoicism speaks directly to this mistake. A man who cannot tolerate uncertainty will try to control it, and in attraction, control kills the very thing it's trying to secure. When you let go of the need to manage desire, desire has room to grow. Another reason men miss this is conditioning around masculinity. Many men believe being wanted means being intense, dominant, or constantly sexual. In reality, being wanted deeply comes from emotional containment. It comes from knowing you can want without grabbing, lead without forcing, stay present without demanding. Men also misread withdrawal. When a woman slows down, many men panic. They try to pull her back in with effort or explanation, but often withdrawal is not rejection. It's a test of steadiness. When you remain grounded instead of reactive, attraction often returns stronger. The final reason men miss this is impatience. Desire has its own rhythm. It doesn't follow schedules. It deepens when it feels unpressured. Men who understand this stop chasing moments and start creating conditions. Here's the shift that changes everything. Stop trying to be desired. Focus on being grounded. When your emotional state no longer depends on her response, your presence changes. That presence is what she feels. That feeling is what creates desire. This video wasn't about tricks. It was about understanding what women feel, but rarely articulate. When you grasp, that intimacy stops feeling confusing. It starts feeling natural. And that's when everything finally clicks. Folks, let's close this out. Today we broke down what women really want but rarely say out loud. Not techniques, not tricks. We talked about desire, presence, safety, calm dominance, and why being grounded matters more than trying harder. If you understood one thing from this video, it's this: real intimacy starts with self-control, not performance. If you want to go deeper and train this mindset consistently, consider joining the channel membership. That's where we build stoic presence, emotional discipline, and masculine clarity without confusion or games. And if this kind of content helps you see things more clearly, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next video. Thanks for spending your time with me today. I'll see you again tomorrow.